Is competing on price the best strategy for MSPs to win more deals and close more business? We're going to be covering the pros and the cons to this statement because I keep seeing it all over the place. Harrison, I keep losing on price. I'm not sure what to do. Let's talk about it. My name is Harrison Barron from growth-generators.com. We help MSPs with sales training and marketing. Before I get into today's video, I do have to mention two quick things as always. Number one, there is a pricing guide down below. There's a masterclass attached to it. About 20 minutes in, you will get that pricing sheet in that masterclass. It actually teaches you how to use it in that masterclass so you can get good numbers. I would highly, highly, highly recommend going through and checking that out. Number two is come hang out with us in the Discord. It is a fantastic community. If you'd like to join, growth-generators.com/Discord. I hang out in there. There's a bunch of people currently, while I'm making this video, hanging out in there, and it is a great place to start either dipping your toes into the MSP community or looking for like-minded individuals. And last but not least, if you enjoy MSP content, especially sales and marketing aspects of your MSP, or even some operations I'm going to be getting into, you're going to want to hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell. So let's talk about the MSP pricing, because I keep seeing it. It's a race to the floor. You can't make any money in this. I keep losing deals because I'm too expensive. And we have to really unpack quite a bit in there. And the first part of all of this is really understanding the value of MSPs. Now, I'm not going to talk about MSPs for a second. I'm actually going to talk about car dealerships and cars, because there was a really big problem. And I saw this a long time ago in the MSP world where people were racing for the bottom, and cars and car dealerships are doing the exact same thing. Now, when I say the word car dealership, at least in the United States, some of us think, oh, they suck. I hate dealing with them. Car salespeople, ugh, nobody likes dealing with car dealerships. It's kind of well known at this point. And the reason is because they're just trying to suck every dollar out of you as a customer. And the only thing every dealership across the board really can compete on is price, or at least that's what they used to do. Now they've gotten much better with value adds and modifying cars and really adding value to the customer experience. But there was a long period of time between the 60s and 70s, all the way, I would even say, to the mid 2010s, to the point where it was just we'll get you the best price. Hey, if you're going to buy, we'll get you the best price, because there was no value associated with that. And unfortunately, that is starting to creep into the MSP world. MSPs are fantastic at what they do. They are incredible people, right? Or groups of people that provide a reliable place for tech support, proactive support, and making sure businesses, for the most part, don't get hacked, or at least doing the bare minimum. And a lot of MSPs don't understand. It's a two-way partnership. You have the MSP and the customer agreeing to, most of the time, a long-term contract. A new MSP customer for your MSP will stay on average about 7 years. So, entering into this agreement that, hey, I'm going to be with this person for about 7 years. That's a tremendously long time. And it's not transactional like a car where you're saying, hey, what's the best price I can get? And then boom, you're going to buy. A lot of it is really a very touchy, feely type of relationship. You're constantly in that computer's environment or that system's environment. You're constantly dealing with the business owner or executives in that company. And in all honesty, you could take down the entire thing and stop them at a halt if you really wanted to. They are giving you really sensitive information, and they expect to be treated really, really well. That's a huge value proposition that most people don't even understand that MSPs provide. That's the craziest part about it. So now that we understand the value proposition that we actually want and the negatives, or the things that car dealerships are doing and creeping in, we have to talk about the risks of low pricing strategies, because I can't tell you how many times I get on the phone, well, we charge $40 a month. We're in 2024, $40 a month for tech support. I can't even go to lunch for less than $40, at least in the United States, for the most part. There's always exceptions, but for the most part, $40 doesn't even fill my tank. in my car, and I only drive a Honda Accord. So there is some really big problems that you're going to have. So there's short-term gains, which is probably landing that new customer, and then long-term losses, right? The short-term game is if you compete for the absolute bottom of the barrel pricing, you're probably going to have really bad customer retention, or what we just talked about, that reliability, that long-term partnership, that trust that you have. They're not going to value any of that. Typically, right? Let's just play a quick scenario off in our head. If I said, hey, I want to give you this Ferrari, right? It's it doesn't even matter the make and model, but the Ferrari is $10,000. You'd be like, okay. Why is that Ferrari $10,000? There's not a Ferrari on the market for $10,000. Heck, a Ferrari wheel costs like $4,000 or $5,000. One wheel. How is that car $10,000? Even if I gave you the Ferrari and was like, yeah, it's $10,000 Ferrari, you know what, take it, it's all yours. You wouldn't feel right. You'd feel a little strange going through this. It just wouldn't be settling to you. You would feel awkward driving because you know that it's not quite as valuable as you really hoped it was, and it just doesn't sit well with you. And you're not going to value it. You're not going to trust it. You're not going to say, wow, I have the confidence of this $250,000, $400,000 car in my driveway. You're going to say, there's got to be something wrong. No matter what, it'll start eating away at your brain. And the problem is when you start to charge a little bit of money, especially a really cheap car, right? You see somebody selling their car and it's super cheap. Well, what kind of quality are you getting? The problem is when you race for the bottom of the barrel, you can't hire the best technicians. You can't get the best software. You can't get the best phone system. You can't get the best RMM PSA tool. You can't become an MSP hero. You can't do any of these things, right? When you have no money. Yeah, you're getting new clients. Congratulations. But if you're working 1,000 hours a day to people who have zero value to what you do, and you can't even bring on the right people, your quality of service is going to start going down tremendously. And this results in a lot of client turnover because, yeah, you're going to be getting new clients, but believe it or not, charging less and going all the way to the floor of pricing, the bare minimum that you could possibly sell it for, you're going to have a lot of clients both firing you because they're going to start hearing about other people with more success. Even though you're trying to do your best, your cash restriction, right? I keep my fake money right here, but your cash restriction is tremendous when it comes to that time. It is always far easier to say yes to a large client than no to a bunch of small clients where there's no profit involved. You have to have that profit in that. And the other problem with this is it actually spreads way more than just you. But if you're selling MSP services for way lower than it should be, for example, in the United States, I was using that $40, right? It actually devalues all MSPs because customers get attached to the idea that, well, it used to be $40. Why is it $150 now? Or why is it $200 now? They're like, that's crazy. The guy down the block is charging me $40. Yeah, but the guy down the block doesn't have employees, doesn't have anything, doesn't answer the phone when you call. Your computers are down for weeks at a time, and you have no idea when he's showing up. And it stops the ability and stops the growth of the MSP industry as a whole. By you offering lower pricing, it actually hurts both you and every business around you and every MSP because nobody's going to value your services for being a quality person, right? A quality company. That's a huge, huge impact on not only your business, but all of the other businesses because customers get adapted to, well, it used to be this much. It's just like the inflation that's happening now, right? Well, it used to be this much, right? Now you have less value on it. Obviously, food and MSP services are quite different, but it's a very similar concept where it used to be so cheap and now you're getting uncomfortable dealing with it because it was this rapid growth that they might have to deal with. Now, food aside, right? It's the exact same principle when it comes to that type of area. You have to really be careful when you devalue your services or willing to give them away for pennies on the dollar. It hurts you not being able to afford the things that you want to afford, the schooling for your kids, whatever it might be. Maybe it's a new car. Whatever it is, you go into business to make money. If you were going into business to not make money, you would have opened a non-for-profit. You're in business to make money. So let's talk about some strategies to avoid the pricing race. In this case, it's a race to the floor, and I don't want anyone that's watching this video to be a part of it. But if you've made it this far, I hope you are hitting that. I'm going to give you a second to hit that like button. I'll even give you a second to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell. Thank you for that one. Appreciate that. So let's talk about a couple different ways that you can avoid this race, because it's the worst race ever. Number one is value-based pricing. You have to value what you do, and that value helps businesses tremendously. Now, I love the quantitative approach of going around the office and saying, hey, by the way, when was the last time you had computer issues? Asking the employees. They say, well, I helped Johnny out last week for 2 hours with the printer, wasn't working on his computer. So Johnny got up for 2 hours, maybe even longer, asked somebody else, and it took them 2 hours. So 4 hours of employee time on one printer issue that you probably could have solved in no time. Value-based pricing is huge. Or, hey, how many issues do you have every single year annually with your computers? They may or may not know, and you can times that by the average salary and find a number that you can associate with the value that you provide. Going in knowing your numbers, though, is extremely important, and knowing where you have margin versus where you don't have margin. The second part of this is you have to differentiate yourself. I talk about the buyer persona ad nauseum at this point. If you haven't gotten the buyer persona, you have to go down below, because if you don't have a buyer persona in place where you know exactly who your target customer is, nobody wants to buy from you. If you just say, hey, we're just another burger chain on the block, especially in America, where you have McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, every local pub in the area, and there are endless amounts of, you got Hardee's. I only know this because I do a lot of road trips, but there are so many burger places. If you just say, hey, we're another burger place. Okay, well, what makes you special? Why should anybody go there? It's the exact same thing. When you break your arm, you don't go to your general practitioner and say, hey, doc, my arm's broken, let's fix it. You say, no, I need to go to somebody that can fix broken arms. Right now, you might have to start at your general practitioner, but you're going to quickly go to a specialist. You want to differentiate yourself, and the easiest way to do that is become a specialist in an industry or a niche. That could be manufacturing, dental, accounting, lawyers. It literally does not matter. I have heard some crazy ones from you guys in discovery calls, and honestly, most of you guys are killing it picking these super interesting niches, from veterinarians, which I would have never thought, gaming facilities like arcades or adult gaming facilities. I mean, it's truly, truly incredible what you guys have come up with. These are easy ways to differentiate yourself. I was just talking to somebody in Charlotte, which is where I am. He's like, what niches should I go after? I'm like, there's a ton of manufacturing here. There's a ton of breweries here, which I probably wouldn't recommend off the rip. But hey, if you find a cool solution for breweries, they might only have a couple computers, but where I am, you can't not see a brewery for 5 minutes. There are tons of cool little niches that you can find, or build white collar buildings that you can start to just poke around with. Maybe you're a private investigator IT company. I don't know. Get creative with it. But you have to differentiate yourself from everyone else out there. And that's by picking one or maybe two buyer personas, your dream customers, building your entire business, your marketing, your sales strategies all around those people, and then attacking them relentlessly. And the last part of this is actually educating your customer in the sales process and post-sale. The amount of customers who have no idea what MSPs do and the value that they provide is crazy. I cannot tell you enough how many customers I have stolen from other MSPs. Like, it is taking candy from a baby, and I am Hagrid from Hogwarts. I couldn't be bigger, and it's too easy, because the amount of MSPs that either bring on a new customer and never talk to them again or educate them or teach them anything afterwards is astronomical. And the amount of MSPs that don't even take time to educate the customer on what they do, how they do it, the benefits that I just told you all in here, which you should probably hit that like button again for it, and then bring them over to be a customer, and continuously educating and building that long-term relationship is tremendous. And when you start to go through that process of avoiding that race to the bottom, that value-based pricing and having value in the services that you provide, because businesses genuinely need it, differentiating yourself and then educating your customers is tremendous. The most successful MSPs do this process. If you're like, Harrison, no, I'm going to race to the bottom, more power to you. But the only thing I could say, if you're going to do that, is learn from your failures. You are going to go through a bumpy road trying to race to the bottom of the pricing structure. Now, if you're charging $150, $200, $250 to a customer per month, well, that's a different story. If you lose one of those customers, you're like, Harrison, I'm still losing to people by $30 or $40 or $50 a seat. I need help. That's fine. 1, join the Discord, or 2, check out MSP Heroes. Come hang out with us on Thursdays. It's a growing community of people that want to grow their MSPs. Like I said, I love being in there. I love helping you guys. It's super, super fun, but that is not the path that you want to go down. Do not be the cheapest one. It doesn't help you. It doesn't help your family. It doesn't help your kids. It doesn't help your spouse, whomever it might be. It doesn't help your mental stress. You want to charge more, I promise you, and it's not as hard as you actually think it is. I love you guys. Grab the pricing sheet down in the masterclass down below. I hope I've earned a like button. If you enjoy the MSP content, hit that subscribe button and that notification bell. I'll see you guys in the next video. Till then.